to the Unleash Success Podcast, where we break down the secrets of success to give you real tools and strategies that get real results. And now, here's your host, COREY CORPODIAN.
Welcome back to Unleash Success. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter yet, just go to unleashsuccess.com, enter your email so you can get all the tools and strategies sent directly to you each and every week. Today, I want to talk to you guys about habits, how to break a habit that you don't want and create a new empowering habit that you do want. And to finish off this week's episode, we'll go into a couple different habits of success to help you accomplish your goals faster. In last week's episode, I interviewed Jarek Robbins, and he said something about habits that really kind of stuck with me, and I thought was just a great way to say it. Basically, he said that if you want to be in the 1%, you've got to have the habits of the people that are in the 1%. Now, a lot of people out there want to be in the 1% of finances or success, and they have the habits of people that are in the top 20% or the top 50% or maybe the bottom 50%. What are you doing on a daily basis will dictate how far you go in life. And I'm not talking about just financial success. I'm talking about what are the habits you have for your body, for your health, for your mental and emotional mindset. What about your habits for your relationships? If you want to have the best life ever, you've got to develop habits that are at least where you want to be. The interesting thing is this, though. Our habits don't always dictate our level of success. And so if you have the habits of somebody who is only in the top 20% of finances or the top 20% of health or relationships, that means that your habits will at best give you only in the top 20%. You'll never be in the top 1% because the habits you have at best will get you to the top 20%. And if you look at your habits are maybe in the top 50 or the bottom 50%, your habits won't ever get you to the level of success that you want in life. So if you want to be in the top 1%, you've got to have the habits of the top 1%. We all have had habits that we don't want. Maybe it's biting nails. Maybe it's checking your social media or your email too much. Maybe it's smoking. Maybe it's eating too much fast food. Whatever the habit is, I want to show you how we can shift it to create a new empowering habit and create real change in a matter of a couple days. And if you do it consistently enough, that change can last a lifetime. It's very interesting. There's actually a lot of, folklore around habits and what people say. Some people say it takes 21 days to break a habit. And other people, they've done studies and shown this. There was a study about modeling a habit and how many days it took before the habit was so ingrained in your nervous system that it would last for, at least the foreseeable future, if not forever, if you don't do anything to change it. Now, the interesting thing was the range was like 18 days to 245 days to finally get the habit to stick. And I thought to myself, how is that even possible? The average time it took a habit to stick was 66 days. And that's probably because some habits in the way you do it, some habits have a very emotionally charged tie or emotionally tagged, and you had a very painful experience, and all of a sudden the habit changed in a moment. It didn't take 66 days. It only took 18 or even less, 1 day sometimes. That's how it happens a lot, right? A lot of people, they've been struggling to go to the gym, for instance, and we're struggling to go, and all of a sudden one day they wake up and they create this habit that literally lasts a lifetime. It's not I'm going to the gym, it's a lifestyle. That's just what they do. They've become so ingrained in their nervous system that when they wake up, the gym is the first thing that they do. Why? And sometimes you can trace it back to maybe it was a doctor's visit who said, hey, listen, if you do not lose 20 pounds, you're going to die 20 years earlier. Maybe it wasn't even that dramatic. Maybe it was, they asked a girl out on a date and the girl kind of looked at him and said, you're too fat and I don't want to be with you. Something that painful can definitely create change that lasts. But what happens? Now, I want to go over exactly how we first create a habit and then go into how we can shift it. According to Charles Duhigg, who wrote this amazing book called The Power of Habit, basically there are 3 different sections to a habit. And it goes like this. The first one is the cue. The second is the routine. And the third is the reward. So the cue is a trigger that basically triggers us to the habit. For example, a lot of people who go to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, come home on Thursday or Friday, and they're stressed. So the cue is they're stressed from work. And the routine is the minute they come home, they sit on the couch and watch Netflix. And maybe that to them is the reward, relaxing and just enjoying a moment, catching their breath. And so that reward then reinforces the routine or reinforces the habit. So every Thursday, every Friday, or every Monday, whatever it is, maybe it's every day for you after a stressful day, because sometimes work is stressful, they come home, sit down on the couch, watch TV or Netflix, whatever it is, and the reward is that they feel better. Some people, it's not maybe watching TV, maybe it's scrolling social media, seeing what all their friends are doing. Maybe it's having a beer or having a cigarette. But the key is that the cue is stress. The routine is the actual physical habit that we end up going through. And then the reward is whatever we feel afterwards. So a lot of times, especially with stress, is that we do something to get us out of stress. And then we feel relaxed. So what do you do to get out of stress? Do you come home and, meditate? Do you go for a walk? Do you do something that's healthy and productive? Or do you do something that you don't really want to do? Like sit down on the couch and watch TV, have a beer, maybe have a cigarette. You're trying to break the habit. So the first step to breaking a habit and creating a new one is to become aware of exactly what triggers you. So what I want you to do is, if you're driving right now, just take out a pen and paper later, but think about this. Basically, I want you to take out a pen and paper and write down cue, routine, reward. And above cue, I want you to write down what it is that triggers you into your negative habit. I want you to write down the routine. What exactly do you do when you get triggered? And then third, I want you to write down the reward. What does this negative habit give you? Because I believe that all of our habits give us something as a reward. They're all there for a positive intent. Even the negative ones, right? Like sitting down watching TV doesn't help you accomplish your goals, but it makes you feel relaxed. Smoking cigarettes might be bad for your health, but makes you relaxed. A lot of these things that we struggle with provide us immediate gratification. Checking your social media, seeing that you got another like. Checking your email, seeing you got something that makes you feel needed or important. These types of immediate gratification is why habits start, is why they get created. And they often get created unconsciously. And unless we consciously choose which habits we want, we'll have these negative habit loops running in the background without us, honestly, ever really knowing. And that's really the craziest thing about habits, is a lot of times we don't even know that what we're doing, our decision to do something, is in a habit. And then if we do know, we're sitting there wondering, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? And the answer is that the habit itself is reinforced by the reward. If you come home and you crack open a beer, you feel relaxed. Now you have an immediate way to get out of stress. You have an immediate way to let loose, to go have fun. If you want to build a business and every weekend you're going out partying because your life's so difficult, you're not going to accomplish your goals if you're just sitting there every day, every weekend partying, but you'll feel relaxed. You'll feel let loose. You'll feel excited about life. So the reward reinforces the negative habit loop. So find your negative habit loop. Maybe it's that you snooze your alarm. Maybe it's that you don't go to the gym, or that you eat, bad food, or you love dessert, or that every time you start thinking about opening up your own business, instead you decide to go out with your friends. Whatever it is for you, write down the cue, whatever triggers you, write down the routine, and then write down the exact reward. So the key to changing a habit in the long term, according to Charles Duhigg and the research he's done and everything that I've seen, is you can't just try and get rid of the habit, because you'll never get rid of the cues, the triggers. A lot of these triggers are external. They come from the outside. So what we need to do is we need to be able to take the cue, And instead of doing the negative habit, we need to create a new positive habit, but still give us the same reward. Why the same reward? Because if we try to do a new habit, like if somebody says, hey, stop eating candy all the time and instead eat vegetables. Well, sure, the cue is that I'm hungry and I want something that makes me feel good and I want, some sweets. Now, instead of doing that routine, I go eat vegetables. But if the reward is these vegetables suck and I'm not hungry, I'm not enjoying this, all you're going to do is want to go back to your old habit. So if the habit doesn't create a similar or the exact same reward, you'll never be able to create a new one. You'll never be able to shift it into something that's better for you. I'll give you an example from my own life is that when I first started working out as a kid, I was like, man, this sucks. I just want to play sports and I want to be good at sports. But in order to get better, I had to work out. So in my head, I was like, okay, the cue is that if I want to play sports, I have to go work out. I had to train before Hell Week or else in Hell Week, I would get crushed. I was a very small kid at the time. And so, this is when I'm like 11, 12 years old. And I would train all the time and I would put off training. I would hate training, but I had to do it. And what ended up happening was that the reward for training wasn't really immediately felt. And it just felt like pain. But what over time happened was that the pain of working out, I shifted it because I was so focused on the short-term gratification. The short-term pain was not gratifying me at all. I was just like literally so sore and dying every time I was doing these workouts and I didn't see any reward. I wasn't getting better at the sport because this wasn't even during the season. I was just doing it before the season so I'd be good while playing the sport. Well, when I finally went through the first season, what I realized was that the training I did for 4 weeks that got me better conditioned than everybody else who was coming into Hell Week and coming into training camp made me better. That was the reason that I was able to get first string. That was the reason that I was able to start the game. That was the reason that I did better than the majority of my friends and peers because I put in more time and effort. And finally it clicked. If I can focus on the long-term goal, if I can focus on the long-term pleasure of doing this and shift from short-term pain, because everything in life worth doing is going to have some short-term pain. But if I can shift that and focus on what I'm going to get out of this new routine, now the reward becomes pleasure. Now the cue is, for in high school, season starting. The routine is I've got to get into working out. I've got to work out and make sure I'm doing this every single day. And then the reward is that I'm going to be better at my sport, that I'm going to be better in school. Now, I took this in when I was working out. When I was working out later in life, when I didn't have a sport to go for. Basically, I tie, not working out to being unhealthy. And I tie working out to being healthy, fit. I'm going to live a long life. I'm going to have energy. It primes me for my day. So when I wake up, the first thing that goes off is my alarm. That's the trigger. The trigger, it then triggers me to go get my gym clothes, and the routine is to go work out. The reward is that I've set myself up for success for the day, that I feel better about myself. And what happens is a lot of people associate that with pain. In fact, they snooze their alarm. Why? Because their routine of snoozing an alarm gives them the reward of more sleep, of feeling better. And so I challenge you to get the same reward of feeling better, of feeling good, of feeling pleasure by creating a new routine. So some of the routines and some of the habits of success that I have that I would love to share with you guys starts off with getting my mind right. So what does that look like? Definitely, I think that our physical health and our physiology, our minds and bodies are so tied together and connected. And that's one of the reasons I work out every day. Yes, it's for health, but also it sets my mind up for success. So I would say the first thing you do in the morning is go work out. Why do I do it the first thing in the morning? Because if I wait until everything else happens in life, if I wait until, I get a work email or a work phone call or, so-and-so needs this help or this fire needs to be put out and this needs to be done immediately. Basically, by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I've got no energy and working out feels like more of a chore. But if I'm going in the morning, it's the first thing I do. I'm taking care of myself. It rewards me again. I feel better about my mind, my body. I'm ready to attack the day. See, a lot of people just survive the day. I want to be able to attack it. I want to be able to take my life to the next level every single day. And that's in different areas of life too, right? So some areas of life might be financial, some might be relationships. But if I don't have the energy, if I don't have the focus, if I don't have the emotional fortitude to be at my best, not even just in business, but my relationships start to suffer. So that's one of the habits of success. Another habit of success that I have comes around emotion. See, I'm a big proponent of emotional fitness. What is the mindset for success? Now, one of the biggest problems most people have is the ability to make a decision. Everybody's got the ability to make a decision, but the problem comes when you struggle to make a decision quickly enough. I heard this quote a long time ago that leaders make decisions quickly, even if they're wrong. But people who are not good at leading make decisions slowly, and they often go back on those decisions very quickly. And ultimately, they never know which one to go with. So which one are you going to be? Are you going to be able to make a decision quickly? So one of the habits that I have is I'm not trying to jump the gun and make a decision that's poorly timed or not a good one. But when you have all the information, when you've done all the research, one of the habits that I have is simply to take action. I do not let the fear get in the way. That's one of the toughest things is fear. So the cue is you've got a decision to make. The routine is for most people that they go into this fear loop where they, fear faith loop where they really jump in from they feel afraid that they're not going to make the right decision. Then they feel faith that they might be able to make the right decision. And then they feel afraid that they're going to make the wrong decision and it's going to negatively impact their entire life. So they don't do anything. They procrastinate. They put it off. And then all of a sudden, out of pain, because they've waited too long, they make a knee-jerk reaction, a knee-jerk decision. And most of the time, that knee-jerk decision is not the best one for them. Maybe you've done something like this. So instead of letting procrastination give you the reward of not making this decision and basically avoiding pain if you make the wrong decision, I like to look at it like this. I get triggered to make a decision. My routine is to immediately take an action. And then the reward is that I get more results faster. Are my results always positive? No, they're not. But guess what? When I get more results faster, it means that I'm able to learn something and improve if they're not what I want. If they are what I want, guess what? I just did that 10 times faster than everybody else. So my key is to take actions faster. I believe that taking action is in fact a habit. You might have known somebody who it's really, really difficult for them to take action. And in fact, they sit there wondering, pondering, worrying, ridden with anxiety and fear for days or even weeks or even months until they finally are forced to make a decision. I think that the faster you make a decision, 1, I have less stress. 2, I get more results. And 3, I have seen dramatically more success in my life because I take action more than everybody else. And that is a habit. So if you want to create habits for yourself, what you got to do is you got to find the cues that are causing you the negative habits. You got to find a routine that's going to empower you, such as the routine of instead of snoozing, you go right to the gym because you get the reward of feeling great about yourself. And if you can shift what you focus on for the reward, if the shift happens for the reward, where instead of focusing on short-term gratification, immediate pleasure, you focus on the long-term goal, even though there may be a little bit of short-term pain, but you're so focused on the long-term goal that you don't even feel the short-term pain. That's one of the keys. So you create this new habit loop, and then you got to reinforce it every single time. In the beginning, when we are reinforcing new habits, it takes significantly more energy and effort to create a new habit. But guess what? Anything worth doing takes time. Anything worth doing takes effort and energy. So if you really, really want to change, just commit to taking action. And then do it for 30 days. A lot of people, there's 18 to 250 with an average of 66 days to really create a new habit. But I'm going to ask you just to create a new habit for 30 days. Just commit for 30 days. Write down the new routine you're going to do. You get stressed at work, instead of going out for a smoke break, you go out for a walk and you practice breathing. Why? Because smoking changes your breathing. running, walking, breathing, literally holding your breath 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, 4 second exhale, changes your physiology, gives you the same reward, feel better. Try that as the new habit. Shift it, whatever it is, for the next 30 days. Commit to doing it. Push past the pain and experience the pleasure of creating new habits. See, once you create the new habit, once you create the habit of going to the gym, you don't have to think about it. Once you create the habit of eating healthy, of eating the right foods, you don't even think about going to fast food. You don't even think about McDonald's and Taco Bell and Burger King and all these other places. You just go and you follow your routine. Now, I was recently asked, it's like, how do you create the habits of the 1%? If I want to be the 1%, if I want to be a millionaire, if I want to be in the best relationship and have the best health and fitness, and I want to be able to really just rock at life in every single area, how's that possible? I mean, I can't conquer everything, can I? And this is the way I do it. I like to focus on a certain area for 3 months to 6 months. I put all of my energy into building that habit up. For example, when I finally got into fitness intensely, I spent 3 months solely focused on fitness. And I created a completely new routine for myself that has literally lasted for over 10 years. And I go to the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week. In fact, even when I'm not going to a physical gym, recently, being on a vacation, I'm still finding ways to be active. I jump on the treadmill. I go for a run. I go surfing. Whatever it is, I find ways to physically challenge my body every day without even thinking about it. And that's the power of habits. We're able to make decisions without even thinking about it. And if you have empowering habits, you're able to make these decisions quickly and they benefit you. And maybe your habit, if you've ever been in a relationship, maybe you've noticed that you spend the first 3 to 6 months in the quote unquote honeymoon phase, where anything that happens, you automatically do it for your significant other. This is the power of habit. You're creating these relationships. You're spending 3 to 6 months, building up these habits inside your relationship of positivity, of love, of caring, of compassion. And then 6 months go by and now you don't even have to think about it. You're going along in a relationship and you can focus back on other things. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's your body. We see this happen all the time. The key is to not let negative habits creep up unconsciously on you. People get in a relationship, they stop working out, and so then they get fat. People, start a new business, they stop focusing on their relationship, so then they have trouble in their relationship. The key is to constantly keep the habit, reinforce it every single day without thinking about it, and to build it up. So you put a lot of energy and effort in for that first 3 to 6 months. You've built up these amazingly positive habits, and then you just got to coast with them. Every day when you wake up, just go to the gym. Every day when you wake up, call your significant other, or talk to your significant other, say, hey, I love you so much. Create these positive habits that empower your life to more success. These are the habits of the successful. Waking up early, going to the gym, reading, making sure they have time. One of the things about blue zones, which is this amazing, study basically going on in the world, there are 5 blue zones in the world where people live to be over 100 years old. And one of the things they found is that they spend time with people, but they have a definitive end work time. They're not like they're working like crazy. It's that they stop, at 5 o'clock, they're done working, and then they go out and they have drinks with friends and family. They socialize. If you want to live to be over 100, maybe you should take one of their habits. Maybe you should, when you're working full out. And then when you stop working and you go socialize. Surround yourself with positive people. That's another thing that successful people do, is they surround themselves with other people that are successful. Make time and effort. If something you want to do is, be more successful, one of the things that I highly recommend is reading more books. I mean, the entire thing about the habit loop I found from Charles Duhigg's Power of Habit book. I've got a list of 10 books that I absolutely think every single person needs to read that completely changed my life at 28 years old. If you want, I'll include the link in the show notes. But basically, every single time, I constantly want to feed my mind with healthy information, with positivity. I'm always looking to feed my mind with successful habits. So I pick up things that work for me, like going to the gym, like reading, like learning, Like making sure I spend time for myself, like making sure I have a definitive endpoint for work, that I'm present when I'm with my significant other, that I'm present with my family and friends, that I enjoy life, that I practice gratitude. You might have seen some of my posts on Instagram. Thursdays, I literally just post something about being grateful. And I practice gratitude. Now it's become a daily practice. And the more I practice gratitude, the easier it gets. You know what happens when you practice more gratitude? Life's just better. You enjoy life more. You appreciate more. I'm not where I want to be financially in business and everything, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I enjoy my life. I'm so lucky. And I appreciate the opportunity to work even further and get even more of my goals along the way. So what are some habits you are committed to taking today? Is it going to be go to the gym? Is it going to be spend 30 minutes reading or learning? Maybe you're going to learn about how to be better at business or marketing. Maybe you want to check out the book list, check out the show notes. I'll put it up there for you so you can learn something. You can read it physically with a book or through Audible. Maybe the habit is you want to, do a weekly date night with your significant other. And so that way you build the relationship, you foster it. Maybe it's you want to spend more time with your friends and family and be present. So maybe your habit is you turn off your phone, put it in Wi-Fi mode while you're with them. I've done that all the time so that a simple buzz from Apple or CNN or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever it is, doesn't distract you from being in the moment. These are the habits of the successful. If you want to be successful, in finances, in relationships, and in your health and fitness, do the habits of the 1%. And that is how you become successful. If you enjoyed the show and learned something of value, the one ask that I have is please go subscribe, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. And if you leave us a 5-star rating or review, that absolutely helps us get our message out there. Each week, I'm going to continue to interview amazing people, and we're going to break down their tools and strategies to help get you real results. Feel free to visit the website, unleashsuccess.com, and subscribe to our newsletter so you can get updates each week. And remember, knowing is not enough. Knowledge alone is not power. Action is. Because action is the only way you're going to get the results you want in life and truly live the life of your dreams. So take some action, subscribe to the podcast today, and get ready to unleash success in you.